What up guys, and welcome back to Underneath the Veil of Marigolds. And today we are going to go over how to use body fluids in your craft. Can you use your own body fluids in your craft? Can you use your own hair in your craft? Does that affect anything? Does that attract bad side effects if you do that? No, it doesn't. I've had this question asked on one of my videos and they said you're not allowed to add any body fluids to your workings. Nothing that has to do with your own personal essence should not be in there. That's bad. That's going to backfire. No. No, it is not. And I'm going to tell you everything that you can do and why you can do it this way, and traces of folkloric history that I found and gathered to support this. And also, just because it says this, it doesn't mean that this is going to feel right for you. You do what feels right for you in your craft, regardless of what other practitioners do. That might sound a little vast and a little wary for some of you because of all this shit that's floating around, and everybody has a different way of doing something. And if you don't do it the exact same way, then you're a fucking failure. That's ridiculous. Witchcraft is like taking on a new diet. You're not going to know how it works entirely unless you try. And there's things that you're going to have to keep redoing until you get it right, until you get that perfect fit that fits you as a practitioner, that fits your lifestyle. So if you don't get the best results from the thing, from, using your saliva or using a little bit of blood in this, then just don't do it again. You can do things to reverse your spell work if you want, if you feel the need. But usually if your spell didn't work, it means it didn't work, okay? You'll know if it worked. There are signs, especially if it's for money or for love or something like that, you'll see it happening, okay? Also, in this video, we're gonna go over taglocks and what that means to be putting that into your magic as well, and what the differences are between using body fluids and such versus taglocks, because it also is from the body. And some of them are not for taglocks, and we'll go over that. I'm gonna try to get into it, but I have a funny feeling this video is gonna be pretty long, as I'm gonna try and jam pack a lot of info in here. And even then, you probably won't get the full gist of it. But if you don't, you can always email me at underneaththeveilofmarigolds@outlook.com, or place them in the comments below, and either myself or another practitioner who watches this video and knows a lot about this kind of work will answer you back, okay? This is an open community to just learn shit. I have no judgment if you're trying to learn stuff and you don't really know what something is and you feel like you should. I am not that person who's like, why the fuck don't you know that yet? You've been practicing for X amount of years, you're a fucking idiot. No, I don't give a fuck. I would just tell you and explain my own personal reasoning and my own experience with it, etc., etc. And then you can figure out if that's for you or not and move along. Without further ramblings, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Before you handle any of these bodily fluids, you should know that there are pathogens and stuff that our bodies contain within our blood, and certain things you can just swap with saliva. You could kiss somebody and get the herb, okay? It's that easy. Okay, no joke. It's crazy how easy you can get an STD, or it's something you just can't get rid of. Some sort of disease that it's just not going anywhere now, just because, you got a little bit of something on an open wound in your eye, fucking eye. It can fucking happen. Google it. You got to be careful when you're doing this stuff. You can't just willy-nilly swap a little blood, you and your partner. You need to know what's going on inside their bodies, and they need to know what's going on inside of yours. So these things shouldn't be taken lightly, even though there are a lot of folklore behind how blood can be shared between two people to do this and that in magics. It's not the most cleanly way to do things. So, there's still a lot of diseases and stuff going on even to this day. COVID. Look how easy that was passed around. And we're supposed to be in a more highly developed point in time right now. And we're still spreading shit around. We still don't know how to fucking handle it. So How crazy is that? And our hygiene and everything is supposed to be so bumped up and superior to back way in the day when all that shit was getting passed around and they didn't know what the fuck was going on. Well, they apparently still don't. That and people just don't take proper hygiene seriously. So I'm just going to put that out there as a disclaimer that there are things that you can share that you might not be able to get rid of if you try and pass some fluids back and forth with another person. We're going to start off with, I'm going to say one of the most taboo, but honestly, if you practiced the craft, you probably use a little bit of this here and there, which is going to be blood. With blood, what does that mean? What is the symbolism behind blood? So first off, power enhancing, domination magic. It's very protective actually too. And you can also use menstrual blood if you are on your cycle, which is good for binding, also domination once again, and protection, marking your territory, which is basically the same thing as like domination in my perspective of it. Okay, so I gave you a little breakdown of magical uses of blood, and there could be more uses than that, but those are the most common ones that I know you can use, and I've used a couple. So I know in hoodoo and voodoo they do use blood, okay? That is part of their ritualistic endeavors. And also in Egyptian magic, they found a cocktail that was mixed with all sorts of different body fluids, and it had traces of blood in there. So they drank this cocktail. It's a hallucinogenic sort of cocktail, and everybody drank it in order to start the ritual. That's how it went. That's how the ritual went. I'm going to give you a little tiny breakdown of ingredients, but the ingredients varied from article to article, so do not quote everything that I said here, because lots of different articles were kind of saying, hey, a little trace of this, a little trace of that, and it varied from each one. So I'm going to kind of read off what I got from that. This was around 2nd century BC. It contained blood, fermented fruits, and hallucinogenic herbs and plants, such as Syrian rue and blue lotus, which is still common to be used in ritual today. Blue lotus is very good for that, very good for dream magic, very good for divination, along with breast milk, fluids from the vaginal area. The cocktail was thought to be linked to honoring deity Bes. Ingredients vary on the resources. YouTube will probably ping me for that crap, but I don't like having to filter things that motherfuckers should already know about. Like, body fluids are body fluids. Like, whoever's watching this, are you not human? Do you not know what kind of fluids your body contains? Like, that is so stupid to me. You should know. You should. I mean, unless you're a child, but you shouldn't be watching this. My content is for people who are 18 and up, or at least, you got a good grip on reality. You know where you're at, how mature you are. Next, folklore for blood, and some originations from magics in that area. So Greece, Rome, Italy. Blood is believed to have strong magical properties to transfer energy. So no matter what sort of spell or ritual you're doing, it's a transference of the energy that the practitioner was accumulating and building up at that time. So if you're building up a large amount of energy at that time and you have a certain manifestation that you've been accumulating in your mind's eye and certain phrase, incantation that you've been saying over and over again to attract some money, you made a sigil, maybe you want to take a little prick of your finger and activate that sigil real quick. You don't need a lot of blood. You don't need to fucking gash yourself like in these stupid fucking horror films. I mean, I say stupid, but I still watch these fucking horror films. I'm over there talking out loud to myself like, that's so fucking stupid. In real life, I wouldn't be doing that shit. It's not how the fuck you do that. And I rant on to myself a lot. If my partner's in the room, he sits there silently and just kind of like, yeah, that's right. But he listens to my nonsense. Doesn't always give feedback because he's like, it is what it is. It's just not realistic. It's not what you do. You're not fucking sacrificing a chicken or a goat or something like way back in the day to fucking, suffice some god. That's not what you're doing with your body fluids. We don't do that shit, okay? That's not how it goes. You need a tiny, tiny little amount. One little fucking drop and you're done. It doesn't even really have to be a drop. Okay, it's like the slightest amount is really all you'll ever need. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna mix it usually with some resin or a bunch of herbs. You're gonna mix it with something, or you're just gonna dab just a little bit on like a little parchment paper to lock something in, okay, to activate something, to bind something, you know, or you're gonna dab just a little bit somewhere to protect your territory, to protect your area. You can do that. It's a sign of dominance. That's how you do it, okay? That's how you mark territory without spraying, because we don't spray, okay? But that's basically the intent of it, and that's how it's used. Okay, moving on to some other folklores that I found. This is from 15th century England, and also this was found in Italy, so around that time still. Witches used the blood of unbaptized infants, using their fat and fluids to create a magical mixture called flying ointment. Now, this ointment didn't only contain blood and other fluids from infants. Also read other articles where they said they would dig up the bodies of deceased children and, you know, use whatever fluids was left over from their bodies to create this ointment as well. I know that might be kind of morbid, and some of you might be a little sensitive about, you know, the child mutilation stuff. I mean, that's what they did. I don't want to lie and sugarcoat it. I don't see the point in lying and sugarcoating. Okay, I'm just telling you what I read. So also in this ointment, they used other plants, herbs, and I'm gonna read off what I found. But remember, it varies because we have England and Italy and other parts of Europe where they've done similar things that they found in history. So I'm going to read off some of those plants and herbs, but they will vary, okay? The next source that you find might not be exactly the same as the source I found. So they used mandrake, henbane, opium, tobacco, etc. Like anything that kind of had hallucinogenic effect that could be absorbed by your pores, because they would put this on their bodies, typically the rump, the bum, the ass area, to take flight, because, or that's what they believed anyways, because witches would ride broomsticks and cackle in the night and shit. That's what they believed they did. And there's lots of paintings, and there's a painting, a certain illustration that's rather old, where they show a woman smearing this ointment on another woman's behind so she can take flight. I don't remember the artist, but I know it's an older painting. There's a little tidbit of information about how different the usages are, you know. It varies through culture and culture, and especially till up until this day, where we found that we don't need to be doing all that crazy shit to achieve what we want. We've placed more logic into our practices today, okay? Definitely. And these things don't actually fucking happen still. I'm not gonna say they don't, because I don't even know for sure. Now that I've kind of named off the folklore's blood and, you know, what you can do with it, I'm gonna share some other little tips and techniques that you can actually do with it yourself that I've done. So I do activate sigils with blood. Like I said, you only need a small amount, or you can make dragon's blood ink. Take a little prick of your finger with a sterilized needle, okay? You can get those little diabetic things where you just punch real quick. You got a little drop, pop that into your bottle that you're gonna make the dragon's blood out of, you know, break your resin down, yada, 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 with the alcohol. And then boom, there you go. You have a little something that you can just make the sigil out of that already contains your blood. And dragon's blood is a very good conductor to put forth into the universe your power, okay? It energizes your own personal energy. It's very protective. It's very dominating. So mix that together. You can draw sigils out of it. You can put it in some of the paint to paint your house or your apartment with. It can just be a small amount. You can literally make paintings out of it. and then manifest the reality that you painted. You can do that, okay? Artwork is very powerful. Imagery is very powerful. And if you put a little bit of you in there, it makes it that much more powerful. And the blood is a good way to do that, to be secretive and do that. Like, especially if there's like a little bit of red in there, just get a little bit of red in there, a little bit of your blood and a little red. You know, it's very good like that. So there are a lot of spell works where in sex magic, you can use menstrual blood to dominate a partner. Like, there's a lot of folklore where you can put it in their food. People still do that shit today, okay? So if you really want to dominate a lover and like have them be so highly obsessed with you that they feel like they can never leave you, that's a good way to do it. But be careful, because it works too good. Also, binding. You can do a binding love ritual. If you finally found your soulmate, your twin flame, and do this sort of binding ritual where each other has a little drop of blood of one another. Like I said, pathogens, okay? There's things that I find in history that, you know, today some people are like, I'm not gonna do that. So this will probably be one of them. So if you do not know your partner well enough, you know, what's flowing through their body, in their body fluids that each other can contract, don't be doing this, okay? If you feel like they're unfaithful, you're unfaithful, don't do this. Don't put each other in harm's way like that. That's crazy. You can do a binding ritual to bind your partner to you. So supposedly that it'll make it easier for you each other to find one another in the next life, so on and so on. You'll be together forever, okay? It's one of those sort of things. No protection magic, like I was saying, sigils, or you can put a little bit of blood, like close to your doorways and stuff like that, to claim dominance so nothing can cross through those areas, because doorways, windows, anything where there's like an archway is basically a walkway, an opened gate for energies, different energies from different realms to come through typically. So you can do something like that. You know, you can make it decorative. You don't have to just be like thumbprint of blood above the doorway. I mean, or you can. I'm like, it can be either way. If you ain't got time for that pretty shit, thumbprint of blood with some intention flowing through it is very good for keeping that area protected and locking off some gateways. Saying you don't have to do any of that shit, but those are good ways to use your blood. A lot of people will beg to differ, but this was tried and true throughout history. It's been around for a long, long time, using your blood in these sort of ways. I'm not saying go out there and do it, but you know, I'm not your mama. All right, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to urine and the uses of urine. Metaphysical properties of urine. I've read that luck is good for urine, and I know protection, domination, and marking your territory with urine is also a thing, and it can be done. It works well. And in a few different cultures, urine is very good for love magic. It's like their number one thing that they use for love magic. And I'm going to get into that right now. Let me get my other notes. I have like too many pieces of paper going on here. Should have condensed all of it into one, but you know, different days, different thoughts. So in other countries such as Nigeria and medieval Arab era, so around the 13th century, I found some folklore from Nigeria, medieval Arab, and India, which I still believe till this day India does use urine in a lot of their love magic. But I could be wrong. Someone could be on here and be like, nope, no, we don't, and tell me that's wrong. But that's what I read, okay? A couple sources I've read said the same thing. So I don't know what regions in India, maybe it's just not a thing in one area and it is like all the way over on the other side, and some people just don't know about it. But this is what I found. So they used urine for a long time for love magic and thought to be the strongest fluid to use. And also around 16th century England, witches used urine to dominate a victim or to keep their land protected. Like I said, it's like marking your territory. You can bind someone like that. There was one movie that was actually a good representation of a witch's bottle filled with urine. I believe it was called The Love Witch. And she, I mean, that bitch was crazy. She was so messy about her shit. If you want to do this and have it work and not be a messy psychopath, he's not even that, not even a psychopath. Psychopaths are smart. I guess like a sociopath. I think that's the one that's a step down in intelligence. She was sloppy. She was sloppy. But she did make a witch's jar after she killed that guy that she had sex with. She was testing him with hallucinogens and he failed the test, died because the shit she had was too fucking strong. She made a witch's bottle to make sure the body wasn't found. She used a bloody tampon. She peed in the bottle, put a sprig of rosemary. Was there anything else? I haven't watched the movie in a hot minute, but now it's starting to sound good, so I might. I think that was it, but I don't know. If you guys seen the movie, you'll know if you remember at this point in time, or you might have to go back and watch it. You're welcome. But it was something along those lines. And yes, urine is very good for domination. So she was trying to dominate that situation and trying to cover something up, basically, is what I got from it. And is what I would have done with that jar. Okay, she's trying to have complete control of that situation so she doesn't get found out, but she was so sloppy about it that she contradicted her own magic, you know. So that was not her strong suit in magics, okay? Hence why she's probably called the Love Witch in the first place, because love magic was probably the best thing she had going for her. Let's move on to some more folklore. I ranted about that enough. And like I said, the Egyptians did this too as well. Hoodoo and voodoo, they use urine. Urine's a thing. I mean, if you're a practitioner, most countries do use all fluids of the body. It's not uncommon to find that out. Definitely with the witches' jars, urine is very good. Okay, you can do love magic with urine. You could pee on somebody and dominate them like that with love magic, like during sex, and you're like, whoops, my bad, you know, like how horrible would that be? But if someone said that and you're like, really, what the fuck, like really, did you really just pee on me? But low-key, it's some magic. Use urine in food, cocktails, like serve it to them, and that's a form of domination magic. It's a form of lust magic to get someone to sleep with you, bend to your will. Things like that have been done. So I'm not saying you should go out there and do it. And like I've also said, I'm not your mama. Let's move on to the next one. Next runner-up is semen. And semen is good for power, enhancing personal power, and of course, domination. You're going to be seeing these trends a lot, the power enhancer and the domination thing, because that's typically what the fluids are good for when you perform magic, is to enhance the magic, to have control over the manifestation, to, you know, have that much more energy put into it. It's an enhancer. That's really what it is. That's what they are. That's what I use them for. And this has been commonly found in hoodoo, voodoo. The Egyptians do this, okay? So these body fluids, a lot of cultures use them. There's different things you can get crafty with your semen too. You know, you can do this with food magic. You can put a little bit of semen on your partner's food and they consume it. But like I said, be wary of those pathogens that people contain within their body. You don't know where everybody's been, so don't take it lightly. Don't take it lightly. All right, so I'm going to move on to the next runner-up for this fluid is vaginal fluid. And our fluids are good for love, power, and good fortune, supposedly. So how about that? Typically, you know, sex magic, do things like that. You can activate a sigil for something that has to do with romance, love, sex. Anoint it with your own fluids. You can do that to activate it. I'll have some personal power over this and that. Also, you can put vaginal fluid in a working your own fluid in the working. You can use your own personal fluids, okay? You don't have to just be putting them on somebody or in somebody. You can put this on a candle. Like, it can represent having dominance over a male. You can do that. It doesn't even have to be part of a love magic. Or if it is, then get a candle that represents the penis and then smear your fluids on top of that so you have control over his dick. That's what that symbolizes. That's what that means. If you cannot get something like that, you can make like a penis poppet out of some clay, or, you know, get crafty with it. And then, you know, vaginal fluid over the poppet, menstrual cycle blood over the poppet, you know, get crafty. It'll have the same sort of side effect. It's supposed to be dominating, supposed to be you are in control, okay? That's what your fluids are good for. Okay, next runner up is breast milk. And like I said, Egyptians did use this in a lot of their ritualistic beverages. So it is believed to be linked to fertility, the divine feminine, growth, and anything to do with positive magic, because breast milk is like giving life, giving the life essence, passing it on to someone else so they can be nourished and grow. So that's typically what that would mean, and how that metaphysically would go hand in hand with what you're doing. So you have to think of what kind of workings would go well with that, something that you would like growth in, or if you do want to be pregnant, yeah, breast milk. Next up are tears. So of course, tears are linked to the emotional state of the practitioner, because at that point in time, that emotion and that energy has built up and manifested so strongly that you are creating another side effect. This is directly linked to your emotions. So anything that's very emotional, that's something you're trying to pass, or a certain feeling that you're trying to banish. Could be trying to get over a loss. Crying typically releases a lot of energies that are built up and unwanted in your body. So if you cry during a releasing ritual, that would be highly beneficial to you. You're letting something go that has been stored within your vessel for very long. And it does make you feel better if you do just cry instead of holding it back. If you do that, you can collect tears to use in other magics. I know sometimes people can get emotional if you celebrate something like Day of the Dead, or if you celebrate Samhain. You can use your tears in those certain rituals too, depending what they are, depending on how you want to adapt your ritual, design the ritual, you know. You'll figure out a way to do it. I have not done it in something like that. Typically, I do end up crying like when I do my stuff for my familiar that is now dead. Some of you have asked about her. She is deceased. She died about, oh my gosh, almost 2 years ago now. She's no longer here. But when I give her my offerings on Samhain, Day of the Dead, I have pictures of her that I use for this. And I usually end up getting upset all over again, because she was amazing. I cry, I release. And by the time I'm done, I feel better. That energy has been taken out and I've been renewed once again. So anything like that that you can think of to incorporate into your spell work, that you can use tears, it's highly freeing in a sense. Next up is saliva. And saliva is good for domination, luck in some cultures, but only the female saliva, supposedly. And is a very good energy conductor in general, just like anything else pretty much that I've named off here. But I feel like this one is more versatile, I suppose. And of course, protection. Like I'm saying, a lot of these fluids do a lot of the same things. This is used in hoodoo and voodoo. The Egyptians use it. Just about any country you can think of actually uses this in their magics. This is a very highly popular one. And some cultures, they'll spit on you, and that's supposed to be a sign of good luck, friendship, that they gave you blessings. But here we could never fathom that. Here it's a different thing. It's because you could literally cast a spell by spitting on someone's grave. It's demeaning, it's dominating, it's a sign of you are beneath me. And you can spit and have the intention of, I want to banish this away from me. So that's why I spit into my return to sender oil, because I want to have domination. That's power. Saliva is a channeler, and it's like that in many different cultures. It's not just for some cultures that believe it's good for luck or whatever, you know? Each culture is going to have their different way of using it. That's why I wrote down energy conductor, because that's literally what it is at the end of the day. Every culture had a different take on how this can be used. So that's what I believe too. It's an energy conductor. I believe most of these fluids are energy conductors. They can be whatever the hell you want them to be to enhance the energy that you're already putting out in the universe. Literally, if you're mad and you're in the middle of a hex or a curse and you wish that person to be beneath you, banished, gone, okay, muerte. I don't know. Depends how far you want to take it. Spit in it. Spit on it. Spit on the poppet. You know? Shit. Get fucking crafty. Whatever fruit or vegetable you're using or some animal part, you spit on it. You spit in it. Or when you're burying it, spit on top of it. Yeah. You can do that too. It can be the same thing. But that final blow of energy, just spit right into the ground, right on top of it before you bury your working. You can do that too. That's what I'd use it for. And you guys already know I did use spit in the return to sender oil. If you did not know, you can go ahead and watch that video if you want to learn how to make it, or just, you know, there's nothing like you just spitting in the jar, okay? That's it. You spitting in the jar. The intent is in mind. The energy's channeled. You gotta be in your focus and your manifestation point to release the saliva from your mouth. It has the energy in it. That's what you really need to envision. That's what you need to focus on. And then that's how you're going to get what you want. Move on to the next one. And the next one is sweat. Now, sweat might be kind of hard to accumulate for some people. Some people don't sweat a lot. I'm a sweater. I'm a damn sweater. Sometimes if I have the water too hot in the shower and I get out, I'm sweating. So I'm one of those people who has to take neutral leveled showers, which honestly is better for your skin, because if you take showers too hot, it dries the fuck out of your skin. Shouldn't be doing that. You know, the hot water's killing the bacteria. So we're all over here just fucking turning ourselves into our own personal stew. Sweat, like if you're trying to do weight loss magics, something like that, you could activate a sigil with your sweat. That's specifically for weight loss. Or if you're wearing, oh, I should have brought it. I have a necklace that's, you know what? I'm gonna get it. Okay, I got it. So I have this necklace, and it's a little hanging ball of tiger's eye. It's adjustable, and I prefer these kinds of necklaces because they don't rip out my hair in the back compared to some necklaces that have like chains. This one actually doesn't do it, which is nice, but I think it's really just how the chain was designed and how the links were intertwined. But this is honestly the best because I work out in this one. Not all the time. I switch between some other pieces of jewelry, but tiger's eye is great to enhance your own personal energy. And what I was getting at with the whole sweat thing is that if you're sweating and you're wearing your jewelry that already is supposed to enhance, you know, that the strength, the power, you know, you're trying to lose that weight and you need the strength and the willpower to keep going, and you sweat on it, you're activating it. Every now and again, you're gonna have to wash, you know, wipe down your jewelry and stuff because it's gonna get a little mucked up, you know, after a while. Wipe it down and take care of it, you know, and then when you sweat on it again, it just activates and enhances your personal power, your strength, because I honestly need some damn strength when I'm doing my workouts. I like to lift heavy. I've gone back to the whole bodybuilding thing that I was blubbering that I didn't want to do, but I'm doing it. To lift heavy, I like to be strong, physically strong, okay? Real strong. I think, honestly, I probably lift heavier than a lot of women. We have different goals. A lot of women want to grow their glutes and stuff like that, but I want to look proportionate, just proportionate. But I honestly want my shoulders, my tricep, and my biceps to be bigger. Okay, I want those areas to be like, bam, bam. I got this. Like, whatever it is, I can pick it up. Don't need your help, sort of look, okay? You know, I want everything else to be strong, of course, but I don't care on making my ass look abnormally big. I've never really cared about that. I just wanted to look toned, a little perky, but out of everything, highly functional. I still want to be able to lift, you know, when I need to lift with my legs and those muscles in that area. I don't feel the need to hyper accentuate that area. Like, I don't even have big boobs, but I just don't care. That's not what I want. I want to be physically strong, fucking badass. That's it. I want to be like anime girl buff. That's about it. So there's things like that you can do with your sweat. It's usually masculine energy is what you're feeding off of. So if you have a deity that you want to work with that's masculine, you can offer some sweat to them. It's good for domination. Sigils, put it on the jewelry that you wear to enhance your personal power. Any sort of domination, magic, if you're trying to do things to enhance your own personal power, if you can actually collect your sweat, and that might be kind of complicated to do, but if you sweat a lot, you probably could get some, or at least mix it with a little bit of moon water, you know? If you have a little bit of moon water on hand, take like a small little bottle and just kind of get like a little drop in there, mix it around. And then you can make your own, like a personal power enhancing oil with your sweat, or personal power, shoot, you could turn it into a spray because it wouldn't necessarily smell bad. So you could make like a personal power enhancing sweat spray. Be like your own sort of like pheromone spray. Do something like that, but you don't need a lot of sweat to do it. Like I'm saying with the blood and everything else, like small amounts go a long way. There's other ways that you can use it. I'm gonna hit the nail on the head for every single one of them because this video was already 10,000 eons long, and I obviously don't know every single way to use every single body fluid. I'm not gonna know all of them. I'm just telling you the ones that I think would work and ones that have worked for me, and the ones that I've read online that other practitioners have done, and things that have happened throughout the ages of practicing witchcraft. With that said, we're going to move on to the last body fluid, which is feces, fecal matter, poop, shit. Metaphysical properties are highly dominating, human or not. Like in my hex jar, I used cat shit. Did not use my own shit, but you could have if you wanted to. But the cat shit was easier and drier to hang on to. So I used that in my sour jar hex. So I'm pretty sure you guys, a lot of people have seen it. I'm not gonna say you guys all have seen it. You've seen my stuff. No, but I did use it in that video, and I explained why. You can do things like that, put it in hex work, curse work. You can literally throw like your animal shit on top of someone's personal item, and you can make a spell out of it that way. Like, it's crazy. Some people go as far as smearing it on stuff to make a point. That's not really in me to do, so it's probably not gonna happen. As far as I'm going is probably jar work with that, or some sort of curse work where whatever it is, it has to be a box or a jar. I'm not gonna take shit and start smearing it on things. It's just, you know, definitely would need some gloves if you're gonna, but you know, to each their own. But that's what you would use it for. And now we're gonna move on to taglocks. The first one I got that's pretty common is hair. You can use hair to have a personal connection to the victim, or not necessarily a victim, but to the person that you're doing the working for. This doesn't always have to be negative, but it does help to have the personal essence or something from that person that they use a lot, that kind of over time developed their essence and their energy onto it, that you can use in the working. That's what a tag lock is. It's a direct connection to either the practitioner themselves or the victim, which they're working the spell to, or a client that you're working a spell for. It doesn't always have to be negative magic. Like when you guys saw me make my self-love poppet, I put my own hair in that. And a lot of people be like, you should never put your own personal fluids or, you know, stuff from your own body in there. That's so bad. You can. And a lot of real witches have. I'm just saying, do your research. Open up your mind, expand your horizon. You can do that. Just because you don't doesn't mean there isn't plenty of cultures and evidence that other practitioners have not. And it does work, coming from someone who does do it. There's probably plenty of other practitioners out there with YouTube channels that have too. You just haven't found them yet. So yeah, I put my hair, a little bit of hair, into my poppet for self-love. And I usually carry that with me to whatever activity that I feel like I want to do, and I kind of just want it there. So I mentally retain that I'm doing this activity out of love for myself. That's what I want. The majority of the time I keep it on my altar. It sits there, juices up on my altar. But until I need it to use something, like a hobby that I know I like doing, but I put off because I go through massive slumps of depression, okay? It's hard for me to keep up with normal everyday things. I go through these bad slumps. And that little thing helps me do shit. That little thing reminds me that I need to do these things for myself because I do enjoy them. I like them. They actually make me happy. And at the end of the day, I can't rely on someone else to get me out of that slump but me. That's what I need to do. I need to learn to do these things for myself once again, to show myself respect and love. That's what I made it for. So I made a short about it. So if you guys want to make something similar, you can. So I put my hair in that. That's what I used it for. And I do like it. It works. It's been working great. Make a little poppet. You can make one out of cloth and put stuffing into it. You can put herbs and dried herbs in your hair in it. And put other little stones and whatnot on there to enhance the power. It's great. Like, there's so many ways to make these poppets nowadays. It doesn't have to be out of clay. Next one is also a hair, but it is the pubic hair. And of course, it's good for sex magic, positive connection to a partner, or it can be used as domination. It can be used in hexes and curses to the genital area. See how that turns real quick? It goes from positive to you can use it to fuck someone over. Like, it's just about anything else that you contain on your body. You can use it for something good or fuck someone over. Really, a lot of things are very versatile like that. That said, you know what to do with those if you have any. Some people will just look like hairless mole rats down there. Next one is nail clippings, fingernails, toenails. Can be used as a tag lock, any type of magic. Any type of magic. So, someone just left some lying around in the bathroom, just pluck one, throw it in a little bag or a jar, use it for whatever because it's a direct link to the person it was from. It's the same thing if you kept like your dog's claw that you just trimmed up, your cat's claw. It enhances the magic. Okay, it can be a tag lock to them if you're trying to do some sort of health magics for your pets or protection magic for your pet. Or if you work with a deity that is very close related to them, like Anubis for the dog, Bastet for the cat, you know, whatever. It's a direct connection for them. It does enhance the spell work. Next step for a tag lock is a photo. And this does not come off of your body, but it is a gateway to you. Like they know the image of you now. They don't even need to know your name in order to tie something to you now. I'm very good with imagery. If I have imagery of you, I can direct things to you. I can picture things like they are real motion pictures, like I am watching a movie. That's how my brain works. It's very photogenic like that. It remembers every detail like a photo. You can use that as a tag lock if you have a photo of the individual, or if you are very good at sketching, drawing, you can sketch or draw a photo of the individual. As long as it brings up the actual image of that person in your head when you're performing that magic, you can easily sketch the individual or make an animated version of the individual that looks like them to you, because you're the one who's channeling the energy, the intent, and from you to them, to help them, to hurt them. As long as you can picture them, you will get a result. Next up for a tag lock is the full name and birth date of the individual or yourself. If you're doing spell work for yourself, you would normally put your full name and birth date on a candle, on a little piece of parchment paper, a petition, things like that. A lot of people are like, I hate seeing people do that same crap over and over again. What's with this crap? I'm going to tell you what's with the damn crap. The Egyptians used this crap. Romans used this crap. The Chinese used this crap. All the motherfucking cultures used this crap. It's a direct link. The Egyptians would go so as far as putting the mother's name or the father's name of, like Muhammad Ali, brother of, with the mother's name, father's name. So you would know they're a direct descent of that family tree. So you can literally hex, curse, link someone just like that. So the whole family could feel the fucking impact. So it was easier back then to do that because less people in the world. And usually in those sort of smaller areas, villagey sort of areas, you know everybody, even if you don't want to, you're just so closely together in those areas. So it was easier to do that in a sense. But usually when you're doing spell work to hex or curse someone, you already know them most of the time, or else you probably wouldn't be doing it in the first place. There'd be no need, because that motherfucker not affecting you in any way because you don't know them. That's what you would do. That's why people use the full name and birth date if you don't have a photo. You can use it then even if you have the photo, but you really only need either or. You don't have to go out of your way to obtain it. That and another tag lock. So be careful with this information, guys. A lot of people don't know this. You can directly target someone with their natal chart. If they give you their birth date, what time they were born, you pull that chart, put their name on it. That is them. That's literally their life story. That's a little book of them. And you fucking up their story. You can literally find weak points in the individual based off their natal chart and then enhance those. Like if they're already having bad back problems, or they're a very anxious, panicky person, you can literally dominate that sort of aspect and make it even worse. So you can do a lot with somebody's natal chart. That shit can be very damaging to the individual because that's a lot of information. Also, if you don't have any of those, another tag lock is a username. So if you see someone online harassing you, bullying you, whatever, use their username. It'll still work, okay? You still have a direct connection to an individual. You can print out what they said even, and then write some words of manifestation to get rid of or have something happen to this username, and design work like that. Design a spell around that. You could totally do that. There's many, many different ways. As long as the intent is really in mind's eye, there's a lot you can do with it. Some people may not be at that level yet to project that energy, to manifest that sort of outcome. But if you do it long enough, gradually you can get yourself there. You don't need a whole lot of things to help you get there. Like, you can just make it happen. Some of these are kind of the same. Like, you can literally use someone's saliva as a tag lock if you wanted to. If they really didn't know what the fuck you were using it for, you know? Like, if they spit out some gum, you want to grab it, use it in something. That's a tag lock. It really is, okay? At the end of the day, it's a tag lock. So they didn't have any energy that they were putting into it at the time. They just wanted to get rid of some gum. And they were too lazy to, like, spit it into the wrapper and throw it into the fucking trash. So they left themselves open for a spiritual attack. That's it. That's all I got. That's all I got. I've talked for a long time. I hope that kind of clears some things up for everybody and maybe even gives you some ideas. And if you have any ideas for any of these body fluids or tag locks, place them in the comments below. They'd be really cool to read about. I'm always looking for new ideas. Don't feel like you can't use your own body fluids or your own hair or whatever in some of your magics. You can. I would say if you're hexing or cursing someone, you don't want to get some of you in there, because that energy gets attached to you too. Think about what you're doing and assess what sort of body fluid or tag lock would work best. And just remember to be clean about it. Be clean about it. You know, logically think about what you are doing. Is it really a good idea? Assess this, okay? Think about it. Decide for yourself. This is your life, your magic. You do what you feel you need to do. All right? Okay. Until next time, I will see all you lovely little brujitas later.